Welcome back to Grand Strand today, friends. We're live at the Georgetown County Museum, and when we think about the South Carolina coast, obviously we think about seafood, right? It's some of our favorite. I'm back with Corinne and Paige, and we can also talk about the history of seafood here in Georgetown. You've got an amazing display right here, Paige, and a lot of us think of shrimp, but one thing we might not think of, caviar. There's actually a rich history when it comes to that.
Caviar was a delicacy then and still is now, and back in the 40s and 50s, Georgetown was producing or shipping out a lot of caviar. The caviar in this area comes from the Atlantic sturgeon, which is a large prehistoric-looking fish. They've been on the earth 500 million years. They're still around. They were overcaught, overfished, and you can't catch sturgeon now. But a female sturgeon of this size may have had 50 pounds of caviar roe in her stomach. They were taken back, our Cthulhu and Sons fish house here in Georgetown. They were processed there and sent up to New York and the northern market. In 1961, when President John F. Kennedy, when he was inaugurated, he specifically asked for caviar from this fish house at that time. Wow. So Georgetown was on the map with their caviar also.
That is so interesting. And then in later years, we know that shrimping grew in popularity. It's changed quite a bit, but kind of take us through the history of what shrimping would have looked like over the years.
Shrimping, as you well know, today the shrimping industry is hurting because so many restaurants and retailers buy imported shrimp from Southeast Asia. If you've never had fat, fresh, local shrimp, you don't know what you're missing, because you will never go back to that store-bought, steroid-injected product they call shrimp. But the shrimping industry here in Georgetown, we have one seafood market, Stormy Seas Seafood Market. They have shrimp boats that they go out. We see them leaving regularly and coming back with large catches of shrimp. So thankfully, the seafood industry is blessed to still have a seafood or shrimp market here in Georgetown.
Thank goodness for that. And I know if a lot of you have been to Georgetown, maybe you know those particular spots where to get the local shrimp here. Corinne, as we walk on over, we're going to see so many different artifacts, each with a story to tell. Take us through some of these things that we're seeing in the cases.
Well, I was looking for something that would have helped in the turpentine industry, and Paige, I'm going to ask you if that might not have been it. It's called, and I'm not sure of the pronunciation, an adze, A-D-Z-E, with a, they would come and they would mark, they called them cat lines on the pine trees, but from there they would capture the, we think in the north of maple syrup, but the sap from the pine trees from which they would make rosin. And I even remember one of our restaurants used to have the best baked potatoes, and they actually boiled them in a substance from the pine tree.
Oh, wow.
So good.
That is so interesting, and we're going to see all sorts of things in this case. Paige, as you're taking a look, tell us what sticks out to you.
Well, there are so many items here that, you know, created craftsmanship in the people who manufactured the wood products and the things that they exported. So, you know, people back then, they used their hands and tools to create the items that you see here. And today, a lot of the manufacturing is done overseas and or in a factory by robots or people who just sit behind a computer and operate the machinery that way. So I think these items here in this display case just indicate the intricacy of the work that was involved to create some of the items that we have in the museum today.
That's such a good point. We look at all these pieces with character, those antique pieces, and we know a lot of love was poured into each and every piece. And friends, we're not done here yet. When we come back, we're headed outside for a new mural here at the museum. We're taking you through that story. We'll see you right after this.